A man dressed in a perfectly tailored Italian suit worth over $15,000 stepped into Judge Judy's courtroom with the attitude of someone who believed the entire world belonged to him. On his wrist gleamed a Patek Philippe watch, valued higher than most family homes, flashing wealth with every movement. His handcrafted leather shoes echoed across the courtroom floor, each expensive step filled with arrogance and superiority. Diamond cufflinks sparkled beneath the lights as he straightened his silk tie, carrying himself like a man who had never once been denied anything in his life. His name was Daniel Wellington III, a hedge fund billionaire worth $3.2 billion. He owned luxury penthouses in Manhattan, London, and Dubai. His private jet cost more than entire medical centers, and his yearly earnings surpassed the economies of small nations. Yet despite all his wealth, he sat in court facing serious charges after violently shoving his elderly housekeeper down a staircase. Maria Gonzalez, a 67-year-old grandmother who had worked loyally for Daniel for 8 years, suffered a broken hip and wrist after asking for the $18,000 in unpaid wages she had been waiting on for 3 months. Instead of paying her, Daniel attacked her and left her lying injured on his marble floor while he focused on protecting his reputation. When paramedics arrived, Daniel showed no concern for Maria's condition. Instead, he complained about incompetent staff. When police officers questioned him, he attempted to hand them $50,000 each to forget the misunderstanding. He even bragged about his donations to powerful officials, convinced his money placed him above the law. But Daniel had made one fatal mistake. He assumed Judge Judy could also be intimidated. Monday morning at the Los Angeles Superior Court, the courtroom buzzed with anticipation as spectators waited to see the billionaire defendant. Daniel entered casually, surrounded by 5 elite attorneys, barely acknowledging Judge Judy when she greeted him. "Good morning, Mr. Wellington." "Morning," he replied dismissively while scrolling through his phone. Judge Judy immediately ordered him to put the phone away and address the court properly. Daniel obeyed reluctantly. Rolling his eyes in open disrespect, Judge Judy reviewed the charges carefully: felony assault, wage theft, obstruction of justice, attempted bribery of police officers. Daniel smirked confidently. "With all due respect, Your Honor, this entire situation has been exaggerated. It was a simple labor disagreement." Judge Judy's expression hardened. "You hospitalized a woman. She fell," Daniel replied coldly. "I was discussing her declining performance, and she lost her balance." Judge Judy leaned forward. She was asking for 3 months of unpaid wages. Daniel shrugged carelessly. $18,000 means nothing to me. I spend more than that on wine monthly. This was about principle, not money. The courtroom murmured in disbelief. Maria sat quietly in the gallery with tears running down her face, her injured arm secured in a cast. Daniel never once looked toward her. Judge Judy requested the security footage from Daniel's penthouse. Daniel's confidence shifted slightly. "My attorneys and I are willing to settle this privately," he offered quickly. "I'm not interested in settlements," Judge Judy replied sharply. "I'm interested in the truth." The footage began playing across the courtroom monitors. Maria appeared nervously approaching Daniel inside his massive penthouse. "Sir, it's been 3 months. I really need my paycheck. My granddaughter needs medicine." Daniel barely looked up from his laptop. "Your performance has been unacceptable." Maria explained she had continued working every day despite not being paid. Daniel suddenly stood, towering over her. "You broke expensive items. You forgot orders. You're lucky I haven't replaced you already," Maria pleaded softly. "I only want the money I earned." Daniel's anger exploded. Do you understand who you're talking to? I could replace you before lunch. I could buy your entire building and throw your family out. Maria gathered courage and mentioned contacting the labor board if he refused payment. That sentence changed everything. Daniel snapped. The footage clearly showed him placing both hands on Maria's shoulders before violently shoving her backward. Gasps filled the courtroom. Maria tumbled helplessly down 14 marble stairs while horrifying thuds echoed through the speakers. By the time she stopped moving, her body lay twisted painfully at the bottom. But Daniel never rushed to help. Instead, he shouted from above, "This is what happens when people threaten me." Maria cried for an ambulance while Daniel spent 5 full minutes calling his crisis management team instead of emergency services. When police arrived, Maria tearfully explained that Daniel pushed her after she requested her wages. Daniel immediately dismissed her claims. She's confused. She's angry about being fired. Then came the moment that shocked everyone. Daniel pulled out stacks of cash and offered the officers $50,000 each to label the incident an accident. Officer Kim immediately placed him under arrest. Back inside the courtroom, silence filled the room after the footage ended. Judge Judy stared directly at Daniel. You assaulted an elderly woman, ignored her suffering, and attempted to bribe police officers. What exactly do you have to say for yourself? Daniel adjusted his tie calmly. That footage lacks proper context. Context? Judge Judy repeated sharply. Daniel launched into a speech about his businesses, charitable work, and financial importance to society, insisting that people like him operated differently from ordinary citizens. Judge Judy's patience vanished. No amount of wealth gives you the right to abuse another human being. But Daniel still refused accountability. Then he crossed the line that destroyed everything. He leaned forward and warned Judge Judy to think carefully before making enemies with someone as powerful as him. Are you threatening this court? Judge Judy asked coldly. Daniel stood up angrily. I know governors, senators, judges. I've donated millions. I could ruin your career with one phone call. The courtroom erupted. Judge Judy ordered him to sit down immediately, but Daniel continued shouting, I own people like you. You have no idea who you're dealing with. He pointed directly at Judge Judy. I'll destroy your reputation and career. 3 bailiffs rushed forward as Daniel continued screaming threats, while his attorneys desperately tried calming him down. Once order returned, Judge Judy delivered her ruling. Mr. Wellington, I have never witnessed such cruelty, arrogance, and corruption in my courtroom. She sentenced him to maximum penalties for assault, wage theft, bribery, and contempt of court, totaling 5 years in prison, alongside hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines and restitution payments to Maria. But she wasn't finished. Judge Judy ordered every piece of evidence to be forwarded to federal investigators, financial regulators, the IRS, the SEC, and every board connected to Daniel's business empire. For the first time all day, fear appeared on Daniel's face. You're ruining my career over this, he whispered. No, Judge Judy replied firmly. You ruined your own life the moment you believed your billions placed you above humanity and above the law. As bailiffs escorted Daniel away, his phone began vibrating non-stop. Investors were withdrawing billions. Board members were resigning. News networks were broadcasting the footage worldwide. By sunrise, Daniel Wellington III was no longer a billionaire CEO. He was inmate number 847392, and for the first time in his life, no amount of money could save him.